What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pepe's Point of View. I'm your favorite host, your favorite R&B historian, your favorite music critic, Pepe. And as you know, this month, the month of February, is Black History Month. And I decided to celebrate it by looking up a list of the top Black female albums of all time. And you know how these lists can be. When we do a list of any kind, we have a tendency to leave off some very talented individuals who probably didn't get the recognition he or she deserved due to, I like to call it sometimes, a lack of promotion on the record company's part. Maybe management was just not great management, and maybe the artist was ahead of his or her time. And so there you have it, right? These lists can be somewhat controversial, right? But anyway, speaking of being controversial, I was surprised that the list that I saw actually did not include the ladies of In Vogue on that list, especially their Funky Divas album back in 1992. That album was not on this particular list that I was looking at. But did you think I was going to let my divas come on now? Did you think I was not going to talk about the Funky Divas album? Come on now. Y'all know it's coming up. You got to know the Funky Divas are coming up. But right now, I am talking about MJB, Mary J. Blige. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Mary J. Blige is up. We're discussing her. We're talking about Mary J. Blige here, ladies and gentlemen. And we're talking about her, I guess you could call it a a critically acclaimed album for her. As you can see right here, it was three times platinum, triple platinum. It was released in 1994. And well, let's just go ahead on and dive right into it and talk about what I was thinking when I came across this Mary J. Blige's album back in the day, right? Well, the first thing that was coming to my mind before I listened to this album again, and you must know I do have this in CD. You know that, don't you? But anyway, so the thing that just came across my mind immediately when I was, thinking about listening to this album again, I was thinking about the sophomore Jinx. That's right. This is her second album. And I was saying to myself, like, wow, this album was really, it was highly anticipated. I mean, that What's the 4-1 album was such a great album, so trend-setting on so many levels, broke a lot of ground uh, and a lot of things, and it was like, oh my gosh, like this is just great. Now, when she released the "You Remind Me" single, that was one thing, but when she released "Real Love," that's when I was like, all right, I'm liking it. And it's kind of ironic that I'm thinking about it now because for those of you who have not checked out the Aaliyah's video, please do so. Aaliyah's video is up, so give a listen to Aaliyah. But I was also thinking about the image, like who came first? Was it Aaliyah? Was it Mary J. Blige? Was it the image with Escape, so on and so forth? Like there was an image that these ladies, have right now, during this particular time, and who actually had this image first? Was it Miss Chalet? Was it, like I said, Mary J. Blige, Aaliyah? I do know there was a group out called Ex Girlfriend at the time who tried to have this, look, so to speak. So, it is what it is. And of course, I know as far as years are concerned, somebody released their album before this person and released their single before that person, so on and so forth. So I know that there's a time frame, but I mean, really, who really popped it off is pretty much where I'm going. I don't know. You guys tell me. But anyway, that's what I was thinking about at the time when I thought about this album. And not only that, I think it's safe to say we were also probably anticipating, Mary J. Blige and KC of Jodeci. We're probably also thinking about, would we get another Mary J. Blige and KC duet on this album? Lastly, I'm going to say what I was thinking about it before we dive into things. Um, I was thinking about the single "Be Happy" and how that single, when it was finally released and we see the video and everything, it's kind of like, man, like Mary J. Blige, she's winning, she's on it. We love everything about it. Like the song was great. Pretty much a departure, I think, from the first album in some ways, but the the production of the album still made me think of Real Love. It's kind of like, okay, this is kind of similar to Real Love. It's kind of similar to the other songs on the album. So she did not abandon that audience that she and the production team was able to capture. So great and on point with that. So what do we know about this album? Well, My Life is the second album by Mary J. Blige. It was released November 29th, 1994 by Uptown Records and MCA Records. Many of the topics on My Life deal with clinical depression, Blige's battle with both, let's just say substance abuse, as well as also, dealing with some, let's just say, toxic relationships. How about that? And unlike her debut album, What's the 411, that was released in 1992, Blige contributed lyrics to 14 of the album's tracks, making it her most introspective and personal album at the time. Similar to her debut album, My Life features extensive production by, of course, Puffy, for his newly founded label, Bad Boy Entertainment, which was at the time backed by Arista Records. My Life debuted at number 9 on the U.S. Excuse me. My Life debuted at number 9 on the U.S. Billboard 200 chart and eventually peaked at number 7. The album also debuted at number 1 on the U.S. top R&B and hip hop albums chart, and it spent a total of 8 weeks at the top of that chart. I didn't know that. The album would ultimately go on to spend 46 weeks on the Billboard 200 albums chart and 84 weeks on the top R&B hip hop albums chart. The album also charted in Canada, peaking at 37 on the Canadian albums chart and at 59 on the UK albums chart. On December 13th, 1995, My Life was certified triple platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America for shipments of 3 million copies in the United States. And as of December 2009, the album has sold 2.8 million copies in the USA. Wow. Hmm. So listening to this album again, I had to kind of like brace myself for this album. I did. I was saying to myself, like, oh my gosh, like, did I want to listen to this album again? And the reason why I thought about if I wanted to listen to this album again, simply because of the number of tracks on this album. 17. I was like, okay, let me put this in. Oh my gosh, Lord, I got to listen to 17 tracks like right now. I have to listen to these 17 tracks. And to me, I'm going to still say I'm kind of old fashioned that way. Give me a good 8 to 12 songs to listen to, and I'm good. Anything above 12 songs, I don't know why you wasted my time. To have that many tracks on an album, all of them better be good. I'm talking about good. I'm talking about hits. Otherwise, I'm just not interested in listening to anything over 12 tracks. I'm just not going to do it. Like, I just find it just like, why so many tracks on an album? But anyway, unlike today, when you get tracks on an album, now, they're not even like 4 minutes or 5 minutes long. Now they're like 2.5 minutes long, maybe three tops. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like, can you give me more of this song, please? So anyway, you can just kind of tell how the times are changing when it comes to music and production and all of that stuff. So as I said in the beginning, highly anticipating this album. And I Thought about too another thing that kind of took me by surprise with this album when it first came out, and I will talk about it a little bit more, in further detail, and that is the what heavy sampling of this album. Oh my gosh, like this album was heavily sampled, too much so. So we get to the intro, right? Track number one, the intro. And the intro is pretty much typical of the time. I like the intro. And as I said before, sometimes when they give us these intros, I like them so much. I ask myself, like, why did you not just make this an entire track, really? Because some intros makes you want, to have, more the beat, the production of it is so good, it makes you want to, listen to it more. But in the case with Mary J. Blige's intro on the first album, of course, it was very typical of the time because why? Well, it's kind of like, hey, I'm doing the intro. Puffy, he's telling her, like, hey, come to the studio because we got to make this magic happen. People are doubting, if you can do this another time. So hey, let's just come to the studios and let's just do this and let's like I said, make magic happen one more time. Then you get to track two, which is Mary Jane All Night. Now, when I first heard the song, I was saying to myself, like, wow, I really like this song. And we already know that this is from the Mary Jane Girls, the group that was created and produced by Rick James, Mary Jane Girls, In My House All Night Long, Candyman, so on and so forth. And when I heard the song the first time, I don't know if any of you guys were like this, but I was. And I was saying to myself, like, why did they not just remake, the Mary Jane Girls song? But they didn't. I wish they had. I would have rather had the version of the Mary Jane Girls than this version. Not that this version is bad. I just rather would have it. I think Mary J. Blige would have done justice with the actual remake. But whatever the case may be, it was definitely a great song. I love the song a lot. Like I said, I can do without this song because I rather have the kind of original, if you get what I'm saying. So no, I would say a thumbs down to this song because of it's not the original song, but I say a thumbs up to the song because again, I mean, I just I think she did great. But I don't necessarily have to listen to the song again, but it is what it is. Second song on the track, You Bring Me Joy. Now, I'm thinking back to the time when I purchased this album, and I remember saying to myself, like, oh, okay, this sounds familiar. And I was like, oh, I know what this is. I think this is Barry White. And I was like, okay, another remake? I was kind of like, it's just kind of shrugged my shoulders. I didn't think anything else about it other than I'm like, okay, we got another sample here. And I kept moving along because to me, this is when the album actually picks up. I love the song. The song is very hip, it's very funky. I mean, the song makes me want to dance. I love everything about it. I love the breakdown of the bridge of the song. Like, I think, I mean, the track is rocking and it just makes you want to dance. It does. I mean, I love it. It's just what it is. It's definitely a song. If I'm going to play this album, I have to hear this song on the album if I am going to play it. Skipping the interlude, like it, but skipping it, I'm the only one. Now, I have to admit that by this time, as I hear these tracks, I start to think about another album, you guys. Like when I hear I'm the only one, and I want you guys to listen to me very carefully, okay? Because I've listened to a lot of albums now, I'm able to pull from my, library, my catalog of albums that now I can say I've listened to, so on and so forth. And I'm saying to myself, like, whoa, You got to be kidding me. I'm like, why do I get the feel that this album, My Life, is like an album that can definitely be hand in hand with Shaka Khan's debut album. I don't know why that crossed my mind. It only crossed my mind when I heard this track, I'm the Only One. And I think that what Mary J. Blige is doing on this album is definitely what Shaka Khan was doing on her first album, her first solo album. I'm like, yeah, yeah, this is some Shaka Khan stuff. I'm sorry, you guys. I know how Shaka Khan feels about Mary J. Blige and her singing Sweet Thing and all of that stuff. And I know that people feel a certain way about, Mary J. Blige vocally. And I like it or not, people have their preferences and everything. But this is the time too where I think people start to question Mary J. Blige's vocal ability. And I don't know why. Uh, people started doing that. I don't know who put it out there. I can't recall by the time Mary J. Blige did hit, and when I say hit, her debut album was pretty much all over the place. What's the 411? I can't recall being around people when her name would come up and like, oh well, do you like this singer? Do you like that singer? And some people would say, well, yeah, I like Mary J. Blige, but I just don't think she can sing. But I like her music, and I don't like I said, I just don't know where that started to come from, But I still say we are on some Shaka Khan stuff over here. I think looking back over this album, I think this is an album that Shaka Khan would definitely eat up. I do. I think Shaka Khan would just totally take this album into the stratosphere. And so that's my little 2 cents on that. Moving right along. Of course, you have another interlude. You keep moving on. Now, if I was taken aback by the actual heavy sampling of this album, I would start to say, now this is when I start to kind of shrug my shoulders. By the time we get to My Life, I'm just shrugging my shoulders at this time, saying to myself like, well, if it's going to be another a sample, okay, it's cool because it's not like the album is bad. It's just heavily sampled, right? Which makes you go like, now I think I'm going to get another sample. Somewhere along, the lines going, with all the tracks on here, I'm gonna get another sample. And you shrug your shoulders and keep moving because this is some great music. And I think right now, and I can just kind of combine some of these songs together, like My Life, You Gotta Believe, and I Never Want to Live Without You. This is when I'm becoming relaxed. I'm in my flow. I'm in my chill mode. I'm saying to myself like, okay, now I'm vibing with Mary J. Blige. To me, this is kind of like the sweet spot, the chill spot in this album. Uh, that that you just find yourself just going with the flow. Ooh, take that back. It's almost kind of like you're at this moment in time where you just now you really start to listen to kind of like what's going on with Mary J. Blige. When you talk about My Life, right? When you talk about My Life, I think that this is great. I think this is probably when My Life takes off when you're talking about the album dealing with like relationship with substance abuse, so on and so forth, clinical depression, blah blah blah. uh, Perhaps this is when that all starts to come into play. Now My Life is good. I really like My Life. I would definitely listen to it again, not so much on repeat, but I would listen to it. But songs such as You Gotta Believe in Me is my favorite slow jam. I Never Want to Live Without You is my favorite slow jam. It just makes you think about, the person who you just, kind of love. You wanted to be with them, not necessarily probably able to be with them at the time, but you're kind of yearning, longing for this particular person. And it's great. And I definitely love, I think it's Big Bub who is probably on the background vocals with "You Gotta Believe." And I think that that's another thing that makes this track so good would be his guest appearance on this track. Just love it. Now, of course, you know we love "I'm Going Down." It's what it is. I love the song "I'm Going Down" in Rolls Royce's catalog. I like it, with Mary J. Blige as well. I can kind of do without the track now. In the past, I was loving that song a lot with Mary J. Blige. "I'm Going Down." I really was, but now it's kind of like no. It's just not a song I'm just kind of feeling nowadays. But back in the day when it came out, I was definitely the one who was like, yeah, Mary J. Blige has it going on. I just don't know for me personally if the song has a lot of staying power. Follow where I'm going. It's a great song. We love it. But after a while, I have to be kind of honest with you. If I am going to listen to "I'm Going Down" now, I'd rather listen to Rolls Royce version of "I'm Going Down" and not Mary J. Blige. It's just what it is. Then again, another favorite is "Be With You." Love it, love it, love it. There's just nothing, as I could say, wrong with that track. But my repeater, if anyone is going to say at this moment in time, what is the song on the album that I'm going to say is the go to track for me, would definitely be Mary's Joint. I love it, love it, love it, love it, and it's my repeater. It's on repeat. Like I can hear this song and play it probably for a whole hour. I can. I don't know. I just love the feel of it. I love what she's saying in it. I like the fact that it's not a song that you can necessarily, like kind of dance to, but you can bob your head to it. You can kind of sit back and just chill and be in your chill mode with it. Like I said, I don't know. I just love the song. I do. I love it a lot. And that pretty much what you have. I mean, "Don't Go" is what it is. So certain songs like "Don't Go" and "No One Else." Uh, I don't dislike it and I don't like it, a lot. But I don't know why when I hear "No One Else," and this is just me, "No One Else" gives me a New York vibe. If we're putting music in categories as far as regions are concerned, I would say "No One Else" just screams New York to me. It does. When I hear it, I'm like, this is just definitely New York. I don't know. Somebody who probably, maybe can agree and kind of say, like, okay, I kind of know what he's saying. It's just a New York song to me. And then, of course, "Be Happy." "Be Happy," the first single from the album. It's the one where, of course, all of us are talking about. She done came back. We loving it. Everybody, when I was back in high school at the time, it was like, hey, Mary J. Blige, she's back. Be happy. Everybody's singing a song. We're loving the song. We're loving the video. It's happy that we're happy. We're happy to see, Mary and to like the song. Sorry about that. And we're just kind of feeling everything and anticipating that even though we love the track, what else is going to, come after this track. So overall, in general, the way I feel about this Mary J. Blige album, I would definitely, explain it to you guys this way. I got about 7 minutes, so let me just wrap it up. The way I would explain to people about this album is number one, it is a great album. It's an awesome album. It definitely deserves to be, in the top 50 black female albums of all time. I don't know why I looked at this particular list. It didn't have Mary J. Blige's The Breakthrough on it, but I'm not quite sure. I have to go back and look at it again. And I kind of shrugged my shoulders about it and said, why my life? But I guess I kind of could see why, you know, they would choose my life just because of so many things. I think it's my life is great because she does it again, so she gets past the sophomore jinx. I think with the Breakthrough album, it was more of a commercial success, if you will. It was groundbreaking in that way. It transcended what it needed to transcend, I guess you could say. But with the My Life album, it definitely, helped her get over that hump of the sophomore jinx theme. The next thing is that the record is just at the end of the day, it's a great produced. The album is produced well. I love the production on the album. It's not slouch. They're not slouchy at all with the production. For the most part, the lyrics are not trite. Say how you want to feel about Mary J. Blige vocally. I can stand to hear her sing, if you will. So I'm okay with the vocals overall in general. So and the must-have single for me is "Be Happy." That is definitely the must-have single. I don't care too much after that for other releases, even though we know "I'm Going Down" was a great hit for her, and so on and so forth. Now let me see, because now I'm thinking about it. What were the album's tracks on the album? Mary J. Blige, "You Bring Me Joy," right? Were some great songs from that album. Let me see here. Just bear with me. Mary J. Blige, "All Night Long." Okay, that album was single, was in the top 30 on the R&B charts, right? So "All Night Long." Then you got "You Bring Me Joy." I got to think about it. Uh, that was top 30 as well. It was kind of like a number one dance song. Then what was the other song? "I'm Going Down." We got two versions, of course. Mary J. Blige's version did pretty well for her, number 13. So not bad for her. And it was a top 20 hit on the pop charts for her. "I Love You." Again, she hovered around the, top 30 on the R&B charts. And then you have "Be Happy," and that track was, did pretty well for her on the R&B charts. Made it into the top 10 on the R&B charts, and let's just say it was made it into the top 20, top 30 rather, on the Billboard charts, pop charts. So overall in general, the singles did pretty good for her, for the most part, and so to me, there still wasn't a must have single. Looking at the numbers and the way I feel about the album tracks, and then looking at the numbers for the individual singles, I think that I'm okay with saying that, yeah, as far as the singles are concerned. Like "Be Happy" and "I'm Going Down," I would say would be the must have singles, but it would be "Mary's Joint" would be the repeater on the album for me. Like, I got to hear "Mary's Joint," no matter what, on the album. So then you get to the part where you say, okay, this makes it a great album, so we're going to give it an A, right? But then I think about the heavy sampling and then the remakes of some songs, and then it kind of like, oh, we at a C minus, right? We kind of like halfway there. We're halfway there. Like, what were you thinking? Uh, who was thinking like it was okay to heavily sample, other material. But then when you get past that part and you think about, as I said, the production and what she's saying, it goes back up to an A, right? And the fact that when I told you guys that I get to the song, the track, "I'm the Only One," and I start to think about Shaka Khan, and I'm saying, you know what, Shaka Khan would eat this album up. Then I said, all right, we back where we need to be. We back at A plus mode. So I say overall in general, this album definitely deserves to be, in that top 50 black female albums of all time. It does. I definitely, do think so. So it is what it is. That's right. Well, on that note, thank you guys so much. If you've made it this far in my commentary, I think it's only appropriate for me to ask you guys to hang out with me. And by hitting that subscribe button, that like button, that share button, all of that stuff, hey, I'm here because I do what I love to do, so on and so forth. So you know what? Don't be selfish. Share me, baby. share me with people. If you like this programming and you like the content and you like the way, I, you know, critique, if you will, your favorite artist's music and so on and so forth, then hey, share me, baby. All right. And also, my motto over here is very simple: put your behind where your heart desires to be. And whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. I look forward to seeing your next video. And until then, you know what to do. Take care of yourselves. All right.